Hey guys, in the previous part of the Panda3D series, we used inverse kinematics in our Slug model. Today we'll be animating the model. We'll be creating a couple animations step by step. So go ahead and open the Slug.blend file in Blender. There are several ways of animating bones in Blender, but what is important for us is that we should use animations as actions. Let's start with the non-animation. First, let's switch the animation workspace and make sure we're in pose mode. Now, down in the dope sheet editor, set the editing context to Action Editor. Dope sheet, Action Editor. Next, we must make sure that all bones are in their original positions. If not, select all the bones and hit Alt-G to reset location and or Alt-R to reset rotation. Now in the Action Editor, make sure you're at frame 1, then hit the New button to add a new action. Rename the action None. And hit the Shield button over here to add a fake user. This is very important because this way our animation data will be saved even if the animation is not used. Otherwise, we would lose it on leaving Blender. We must remember to add a fake user for each animation we create. Our non-animation, as its name suggests, hardly deserves to be called an animation because nothing is going to change here. That's why we only need one frame for it. Set end frame to 1. Over here. Good. Next, make sure all the bones are selected and, hovering over the 3D viewport, hit I to add a keyframe. Then select Location, Rotation and Scale. This will add keyframes for all the bones. Let's slightly drag the border of the Action Editor window so that you can see all the bones. Now it doesn't make sense to play this animation because nothing is going to happen anyway, so let's move on to the first actual animation, the idle animation. So the idle animation, hit the New Action button over here and rename the animation Idle. Also, hit the Shield button to add a fake user and thus permanently save the animation. When you add a new action, all the keyframes from the previous action are still there for you. You can use them if you need or delete them. In this case, we can keep them. In this animation, the slug will be moving his tentacles and also slightly his body. Let's start with the former. To better see the tentacles, let's switch to front view. And deselect all the bones. Alt-A. If you go to the Output tab, you will see that the frame rate is set to 24 FPS. This means there will be 24 frames each second. We want the idle animation to take 2 seconds. So set the end frame to 48. Then we will be looping the animation in the game. Now the tentacles should be in their original positions at frame 1 and 48. Halfway through the animation, they should reach their maximum height. So go to frame 24, select the first bone of the left tentacle which is actually the one you see on the right over here. And now if you go to the bone tab over here, you can check the name of the bone, which is tentacle1.l. Now hit R -60 to rotate the bone along with all its children 60 degrees counterclockwise. Enter to confirm. Then hit I to add a keyframe and select location and rotation. This will add the appropriate location and rotation keyframes for the selected bone. Then select the tentacle1R bone on the other tentacle. Make sure this one is deselected and hit R 60, enter, to rotate it 60 degrees clockwise. Hit I and select location and rotation to add a keyframe. Now you want to add a breathing effect. We can do it by slightly changing the scale of the bones. So hit 3 on your numpad to go to right view. Zoom out a bit to see the slug. Now deselect all the bones and then select all the bones along the spine of the slug. So starting from here, the very first bone, shift, and all the other bones along the spine. Like that. Naturally, real slugs don't have spines, but ours do. You can also drag the border of the 3D viewport on the left to make it occupy less real estate so that we can see the slug better. Now hit S 1.01, enter, to scale the bones slightly, and then hit I and select location, rotation and scale to insert a keyframe. At the end of the animation, all bones should return to the original positions. The easiest way to do it is to copy the keyframes from frame 1 and paste them at frame 48. First, select all the bones. Then select all the keyframes at frame 1 by clicking here. Now these ones are not selected. You can see that they are a different color. Now hit Ctrl+C to copy the keyframes. Then go to frame 48 and hit Ctrl+V to paste them there. Now save the file, go back to frame 1 and play the animation by hitting the play animation button over here. As you can see, the slug is now breathing and moving his tentacles. Stop the animation. So we're done with the idle animation. Let's move on to the walk animation. So next, let's implement the walk animation. This is the animation that will be played while the slug is walking to the racetrack or anywhere on the ground while not running. Here, the slug should still be moving the tentacles, so we're going to leave this as is. But apart from that, he should be lifting the middle part of his body slightly up. So hit the New Action button to add a new action. Rename it Walk. And hit the Shield button to add a fake user. Now, as you don't want to change anything about the tentacles, we'll leave all the keyframes that are associated with them. We'll also leave the keyframes on the other bones at frame 148 because at the beginning and the end of the animation, all bones should be in their original positions. What we have to change is the way the body moves. So deselect all keyframes in the action editor by hitting Alt-A and then hit B and box select the keyframes at frame 24 except the ones on the tentacles. So without these two, tentacle 1R, tentacle 1L. Then hit X and select delete keyframes. X, delete keyframes. Now we want the animation to be 3 times longer than the idle animation. So set the end frame to 144. Now go to left view by holding down Ctrl and hitting 3 on your numpad. Then select all the bones, A, and then all the keyframes at frame 48, which you can do by selecting the topmost keyframe. Hit G and move them to frame 144. G, move. Next, select all the keyframes at frame 24, hit G, and move them to frame 72. This should be 72, yes, and this is 144, right? Next, go to frame 1 and select just the body IK bone. So this one over here. Hit G, Y, 0.38. Enter to move the controller bone to the left. This is where it should start off. Then hit I and select location and rotation to insert a keyframe. Now select just the keyframe at frame 1 and hit Ctrl C to copy it. Go to frame 144 and paste it by hitting Ctrl V. Now go to frame 72, hit G, Y, 0.01 to move the bone slightly, enter, then hit I and select location and rotation to insert a keyframe. Now let's test the animation. Select all, play animation. As you can see, the tentacles are moving and the body is moving too. Now there are going to be more animations which you will find in the blend file. They are all created in a similar way as those we just made. And in the next part of this series, we'll test our animations in Panda3D. Hey guys, my name is Kamel and I'm a Python programmer, and today I would like to talk about my book, GUI Programming with Python and Kivy. Now in this book we're creating a project from scratch.
Oh, no.
Now here you can see some samples from the book. Now, if you are interested in purchasing this book, you will find the links to it down in the description below. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you will have at least as much fun reading my book as I had writing it. So, see you around. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like it, a thumbs up would be great. Also, make sure to subscribe for future videos. If you want to leave a comment or ask a question, you're welcome to do so. Thanks for watching.